You know, making Sword Art Online games should be kind of easy, right? The anime is literally the blueprint, and still, the games we've gotten have been, well, let's say it kindly, not that great. But a new one is coming in a few weeks. I played the demo, and honestly, it was kind of okay. Not great, but okay. And for SAO games, okay is kind of already impressive because the bar is somewhere around 6 feet under, and that's the frustrating part. Sword Art Online is not some impossible thing to turn into a game. It's literally about people being trapped inside a game. That is the whole thing. You don't need to reinvent the wheel here. You don't need to create some galaxy brain masterpiece that changes the industry forever. You just need to make the player feel like they're actually inside Aincrad. Give me a character, give me a sword, give me floors to climb, bosses to fear, skills to unlock, and a reason to care when something goes wrong. That should be the easiest layup in anime game history, and somehow for years SAO games have felt like they were made around the brand first and the actual fantasy second. So when I downloaded the Echoes of Aincrad demo, my expectations were not exactly high. I wasn't expecting the new Elden Ring. I wasn't expecting some perfect MMO dream game. Honestly, I was just hoping it wouldn't feel like another anime game where the budget went into the character models and then someone remembered gameplay was supposed to exist. And weirdly enough, it didn't. Even with all of that said, I actually came out of the demo more positive than I expected. Not because it was perfect, it absolutely was not, but because for the first time in a while I could actually see the Sword Art Online game I wanted, somewhere underneath all the usual anime game weirdness. The atmosphere is easily the strongest part. It does have that feeling of actually stepping into Aincrad. The world looks beautiful, the environments are clean, the anime style works, and at least visually it understands what people want from this series. Because when I think of Sword Art Online game, I don't want just random fields, random enemies, and Kirito standing there like he accidentally walked into another budget spin-off. I want that feeling of being inside this giant MMO world where every floor actually matters, and Echoes of Aincrad gets closer to that than I expected. The voice acting was also solid, which helps a lot, because anime games can easily fall into that zone where every line sounds like somebody is explaining a tutorial while slowly losing the will to live. But here, it actually felt fine. Nothing insane, nothing made me pause the game and reconsider my entire existence, but it worked. And honestly, it worked is already better than I kind of expected. The combat was probably the biggest surprise for me. It's not amazing, but it's actually fun. It has some Souls elements, you dodge, enemies can punish you, and the game clearly wants you to pay at least some attention instead of just mashing buttons while thinking about what you're gonna eat later. But it doesn't feel like it's trying to be Elden Ring with Kirito hair, which is good, because not every action RPG needs to look at Dark Souls and immediately start breathing heavily. For SAO, I think this kind of combat makes sense. It should feel active, flashy, readable, and little dangerous, but it doesn't need to become some miserable stamina management simulator. One thing I couldn't really judge from the demo was the character creation, which is kind of funny because this is one of the biggest things Echoes of Aincrad seems to be selling. This time the whole fantasy seems to be that you make your own character, step into Aincrad yourself and become part of the story. And that is exactly what I wanted from SAO games for years. But in the demo, I couldn't really see how deep the system is going to be because the demo seemed to be set during the beta test period. And weirdly enough, that didn't bother me as much as I expected, because in the anime, that is basically how everything starts. People are still in the beta or early MMO fantasy mindset. They're using avatars, learning the game, talking about the full release, and everything still feels normal. And then launch day happens and Kayaba turns it into the worst gaming update of all time. So in the demo, when the characters were talking about the beta test and the full release, I don't know, maybe it's just the nostalgia poisoning my brain, but that actually got me excited. It made the demo feel less like a random limited slice of the game and more like calm before everything goes wrong. And honestly, that is exactly the kind of feeling I want from a SAO game. But then the actual game starts, and that's where I had to calm myself down a little, because the vibe is there, the world is beautiful, the idea is strong. I was genuinely sitting there like, wait, are they actually doing it? But once I got into the quest, the demo became a lot more basic. Most of it was running from point A to point B, killing few enemies, watching another tutorial screen pop up, and then doing basically the same thing again. And to be fair, it is a demo, maybe this is just some early tutorial section, maybe the full game opens up a lot more. I don't want to act like I've seen the entire thing just because I played a limited slice of it, but it did make me a little worried, because if the full game leans too hard into that basic checklist structure, I can see it getting old really fast. The hand-holding also stood out to me, and again, maybe this is just some demo thing, but at times it felt like the game was throwing tutorial screen after tutorial screen at me. And I get it, you need to teach people how the game works, but there's a difference between explaining the mechanics and holding my hand so tightly it starts cutting off blood circulation. The towns also felt a little lifeless to me, and I want to be fair here because the demo takes place before the actual death game starts, so I'm not expecting the whole world already feel like everyone is trapped inside some nightmare MMO. That wouldn't really make sense yet. But even as a beta test, Aincrad should still feel like a place people are excited to explore. A new MMO, a new world, players testing systems, messing with shops, forming parties, and probably arguing about meta builds 5 minutes after logging in. That is the kind of atmosphere I want, and now there's nothing. The townspeople or NPCs or whatever they are, they don't even talk. That's my issue with it. It looked good, but I'm not fully sold yet that the world itself feels alive. The music also didn't really scream Sword Art Online to me, which might be a niche take, but it stood out to me. It wasn't bad, I don't want to act like the soundtrack broke into my house and personally offended me, but it didn't give me the specific SAO feeling I wanted. And for the series, I do think that matters. The atmosphere is such a huge part of why people care about SAO in the first place. The world can look beautiful, the combat can be fun, and the voice acting can be solid, but if the music doesn't hit that specific feeling, something still feels a little off. So yeah, the demo is kind of strange, because I can see the problems, the quests were basic, the game held my hand a bit too much, the towns felt more lifeless than I wanted, the music didn't fully land for me. But even with all that, I still came out of it more excited than disappointed. And that is probably the most dangerous thing this demo did to me. It made me hopeful. Because this is exactly how anime games get you. They show you just enough to make you think, okay, maybe this one is different, and then your nostalgia starts doing unpaid marketing for the game inside your own head. That is kind of where I am with Echoes of Aincrad. I don't think the demo was amazing. I don't think it completely solved the SAO game problem, but it showed me enough that I want to see more. And weirdly enough, that might be the biggest compliment I can give it. Echoes of Aincrad did not blow me away. It did not erase years of mid Sword Art Online games from my memory, but for once I actually care enough to find out. The full release just needs to do more with the foundation. Better quests, more life in the world, more reasons to care, less tutorial screens treating me like I've never held controller before. If it does that, this could actually be good. Not perfect, not the dream SAO game fans have been imagining for years, but good enough, and honestly, I'll take good enough. So yeah, I'm cautiously hopeful. I'm probably gonna buy it, and there is a very real chance I come back here looking emotionally destroyed because I trusted another anime game. But right now, I want this to be good. Echoes of Aincrad is not the perfect Sword Art Online game yet, but for the first time in a while I can actually see one somewhere underneath the rough edges. And with SAO, that alone feels like progress. Let me know if you think this is finally going to be a good SAO game, or if we're all just coping again. Subscribe and I love you. Bye!